There is a weapon known even to those who have never held one, a weapon whose silhouette is instantly recognizable in newspaper photographs, in films, in chronicles of wars of the second half of the 20th century. A weapon that has become a symbol of an entire era, ideologies, conflicts, popular movements, and state armies. This is the AK-47, the Kalashnikov assault rifle of 1947, a machine that changed the very concept of what a reliable and widely used automatic infantry weapon should be. Today, it's easy to call it legendary, but legends never emerge on their own. They are built on a complex set of factors: engineering genius, successful technical solutions, the political needs of a vast country, and the harsh conditions in which the weapon was required to serve. The AK-47 didn't become legendary overnight. In the late 1940s, it was just one of many projects created to replace the aging line of Soviet automatic weapons that had survived the Great Patriotic War. But this assault rifle had a creator whose fate alone could have become the subject of a documentary. Mikhail Kalashnikov, born into a large peasant family in the remote Soviet village of Kurya, had no formal engineering training. After serving in the army, he found himself as a tank driver. His path to gunsmithing was almost accidental. A wound at the front in 1941 led to several months in the hospital, where, according to legend, he began drawing the first designs for the future small arms. Kalashnikov didn't have a university degree, but he had something that is sometimes much more important: a natural engineering mindset, practical experience with mechanisms, observation, and persistence. These very qualities made him stand out among the many young designers in the Soviet Union, and the war dictated that the army needed a new model. The 7.62 Kursk 39mm intermediate cartridge had already been developed, and an automatic weapon capable of combining the firepower of a machine gun, the mobility of a submachine gun, and the accuracy of a self-loading rifle needed to be created. Work on the new assault rifle was conducted in a competitive environment. In the mid-1940s, the USSR began extensive testing of promising designs. Projects were submitted by Bulkin, Dementiev, and Rukavishnikov, dozens of names and hundreds of drawings. And among all this diversity, there was a design that initially appeared rather crude, but had enormous potential. This was the early Kalashnikov assault rifle. At first, nothing indicated that he would be the winner. The first prototypes suffered from reliability issues and required significant rework. However, the design logic behind the mechanism proved remarkably robust. Kalashnikov personally oversaw every stage of his assault rifle's development, debating with engineers and seeking a balance between simplicity and durability. His approach was utterly practical. "A soldier must understand every detail," he liked to say, and this determined the future of the AK-47. Why did this assault rifle become iconic? The answer begins right here in its origins. This weapon was created not as a one-off masterpiece, but as a mass-produced instrument of war. It had to operate in mud, sand, frost, and heat. It had to tolerate soldier errors, survive falls, impacts, and lack of maintenance. It wasn't a precision weapon, it was an army's survival tool, and it was precisely this quality that made the AK-47 a legend. In the late 1940s, the Kalashnikov assault rifle underwent final comparative trials. The commission noted its simpler design than its competitors. Its mechanism was more reliable, its components withstood a greater number of cycles, and its accuracy and fire pattern were at an acceptable level for an infantry weapon for a mass-produced army. The decisive factor was the rifle's incredible resistance to contamination and temperature fluctuations. In the Soviet Union, this was a critically important characteristic. Thus, the AK-47 emerged victorious, and Mikhail Kalashnikov was given the opportunity to bring it into mass production at the Izhevsk Machine-Building Plant. Another part of the legend was born there, the cult of manufacturing simplicity. The AK was designed to be produced in large batches, with minimal labor costs and a fairly wide manufacturing variability. Many competitors' components were more elegant and precise, but it was the AK's crudely machined receiver that ensured its durability. Meanwhile, the world was already preparing for new confrontations. The Cold War had begun, and the USSR sought to arm its allied states with reliable and affordable weapons. The AK-47 became more than just a rifle, but a geopolitical tool. It was distributed, transferred, produced under license, and sometimes without. This was all because this assault rifle possessed a unique set of qualities. It was simple, inexpensive to produce, resilient to any environment, and effective enough to change the course of a battle. The AK-47 became part of culture, a symbol of freedom and struggle, appearing on coats of arms, flags, logos, feature films, and war chronicles. And this entire cultural wave grew out of a very simple idea, born in the mind of a Siberian peasant turned folk designer, to create a weapon that would never fail. Thus began the history of the machine gun that forever changed global military practice. When the Kalashnikov assault rifle won the competition and was recommended for adoption, its journey had only just begun. Years of refinement, dozens of comparative tests, and hundreds of comments from the commission lay behind it. But it was during these refinements that the design that would later become the benchmark was born. The early AK had a machined receiver, massive yet incredibly strong. This component wasn't just a frame, it balanced all the forces within the weapon, reducing the risk of distortion and increasing durability. This was crucial for the Soviet Union in the late 1940s. Industry, fresh from the war, needed designs that could be manufactured and maintained without the need for pinpoint precision. One of the key elements was the gas valve. It was located above the barrel rather than below it, as on some competitors. This solution simplified the design, reduced the number of parts, and improved the weapon's balance. The gas piston, rigidly attached to the bolt carrier, provided a powerful impulse capable of reliable operation even in heavily contaminated conditions. This piston became the hallmark of all subsequent Kalashnikov assault rifles. The bolt itself was designed as a rotating bolt with 2 locking lugs. This simple, reliable design allowed it to withstand heavy loads and ensure stable barrel locking. This design ensured that it remained functional even when partially worn, a feature unavailable to many Western counterparts of the time. When discussing the AK-47, it's impossible to ignore the very thing that made it a legend: its durability. The rifle performed where other weapons failed, even after thorough cleaning. The reason is a combination of several factors. 1. Large technological gaps. More space was left between moving parts than in Western models. As a result, sand, dust, or dirt simply didn't clog the mechanism. They had somewhere to go. 2. Super powerful impulse of automation. The long stroke of the gas piston and the powerful push of the bolt carrier ensured operation even under the most difficult conditions. Yes, recoil increased, but the rifle remained functional. 3. Durable and massive iron. The AK-47 was heavier than many of its competitors, but this weight ensured high survivability and service life of its components. 4. Maximum simplicity of design. No complex levers, delicate parts, or vulnerable components. All components can be disassembled in seconds and without tools. In the Army, such decisions are of paramount importance. A soldier in combat doesn't need a mechanism that requires meticulous maintenance. He needs a mechanism that will always fire, even if it falls in the mud, gets wet in the rain, or is left out in the cold. And the AK-47 did this better than anyone else. Ammunition, the heart of the machine gun. The AK-47 was designed for the intermediate 7.62 39mm cartridge, which became the basis of the Soviet concept of automatic infantry weapons. This cartridge wasn't a rifle cartridge. It was shorter, lighter, and had less energy than the 7.62x54R, but it allowed fire effectively in bursts, maintain sufficient penetration up to 300-400 nanometers, reduce recoil and improve control, increase the portable ammunition load. The cartridge proved to be a happy medium, not overly powerful, but quite effective. It made it possible to create a weapon capable of delivering concentrated automatic fire at medium ranges, something the Soviet infantrymen lacked during the Great Patriotic War. In the early 1950s, large-scale production of the AK-47 began. A problem arose. Milled receivers were expensive and slow to manufacture. The USSR realized that the assault rifle needed to be truly mass-produced, and therefore as technologically advanced as possible. This is how the AKM version emerged, a modernized AK, but that's not what we're talking about here. For the AK-47, however, the following milestones were important: standardization of production, processing of parts for new equipment, improving the quality of trunks, adaptation of the design for large production volumes. The Izhevsk plant became the center of the arms industry, and it was there that the assault rifle took its final form. As mass production progressed, it found its way into the hands of troops, warehouses, training units, wherever a reliable weapon was needed. The first to receive the AK-47 were the socialist bloc countries, but within a few years, the assault rifle began appearing in conflicts in the Middle East, in Africa, in South America, in Asian countries, in partisan movements around the world, and everywhere he showed himself to be the same: simple, powerful, indestructible. The fighters noted the ability of the machine to operate with minimal maintenance, ease of learning, ability to withstand impacts, falls, and heavy contamination, impressive firepower. The AK-47 was especially valuable in jungles, deserts, and mountains. Where Western weapons quickly failed, the AK continued to fire. Here is a brief but accurate description of the AK-47's mechanics. Receiver. Milled and massive, it provides high rigidity and stability of the system. Gas outlet unit. Situated above the barrel, it operates on a long piston stroke and provides high resistance to contamination. Bolt carrier with gas piston. A single unit, simplicity and power of automation. Gate. Rotating with 2 lugs, reliable locking. Trigger mechanism. Hammer action, provides single and automatic fire. Safety switch fire selector. The large flag on the right is another symbol of the machine. It's reliable and simple, but noisy and not very user-friendly, one of the few drawbacks of the design. Sights. Open, adjustable up to 800 memoras, although the actual effective range is noticeably less. 30-round magazine. Curved, steel, durable, easily withstands rough handling. All these elements create that recognizable image that made the AK-47 legendary. Why did the AK become iconic? The machine's success is usually explained by one word: reliability. But in reality, that's only part of the picture. Here are the real reasons. It's cheap. Production was simple and technologically advanced. It's simple. Even an illiterate soldier could learn to shoot in 20-30 minutes. It works everywhere. Rain, sand, mud, snow. The automation continues to operate. It's easy to repair. Any workshop can replace the parts. It's effective. The 7.62239 cartridge provided excellent penetration at close and medium ranges. It's scalable. The USSR actively distributed it to its allies, creating a global production network. The AK-47 became more than just a weapon. It became a symbol of reliability and strength. The AK-47 is more than just a small arm. Over the decades of its history, it has become a cultural, political, and even ideological symbol, recognized in every corner of the planet. Its outline is so distinctive that even someone unfamiliar with firearms can instantly recognize the silhouette of a Kalashnikov assault rifle. But beyond this visual recognition lies a much deeper layer, encompassing technical excellence, unique reliability, and a remarkable combination of simplicity and effectiveness that has defined the weapon's destiny for generations to come. Since its adoption by the Soviet Army in 1949, the AK's popularity has only gained momentum. It rapidly spread beyond the USSR, spreading to Warsaw Pact countries, then to Third World states, then to revolutionary movements, regimes, and partisan groups on every continent. Where other weapons required skilled maintenance and consistent ammunition, the AK-47 continued to operate in deserts, jungles, mountains, and urban ruins. And this is no myth. Numerous documented accounts confirm that the rifle remained functional even after exposure to sand, mud, water, extreme cold, and overheating. This characteristic made it a phenomenon. For armies where soldier training might be minimal, the AK-47 became the optimal choice, a rifle that could be trusted even in less than ideal operating conditions. For developed countries, it became a benchmark for reliability, emulated by engineers worldwide. Many modern weapon systems, while not exact copies of the AK, have adopted its technical features, its durable bolt, its layout, its gas operation, and its trigger mechanism. But the AK-47's cult status extends beyond its engineering and combat practice. It has become a part of global popular culture. It appears on screen more often than any other small arms. It can be seen in films about the Cold War, special operations, action films, and adventures. From Western blockbusters to Soviet and Russian cinema. The AK has become a universal symbol. When a screenwriter wants to depict a conflict zone, insurgents, military action, or a dangerous region, the image of a Kalashnikov rifle speaks louder than any words. The AK-47 played a key role in numerous conflicts of the 20th and 21st centuries, from Vietnam to Afghanistan, from Latin America to Africa, from the Middle East to the Balkans. The assault rifle became an integral part of combat. It became a weapon of liberation, oppression, revolution, and state armies. It was used by regular soldiers, guerrillas, militias, insurgents, special forces, and security forces. So widespread was the AK-47's influence that experts estimate that over 70 million AK-47s of all variants exist worldwide. In some countries, the Kalashnikov assault rifle has become a national symbol. For example, in Mozambique, it appears on the national flag, the only such example in the world. In other regions, it has become part of the official emblems of armed forces and even political organizations. This is an unprecedented case in the history of arms, where the design of a small arms has become an element of national symbolism. The AK-47's cult following is based not only on its widespread use, but also on its technical qualities. Experimental studies and modern bench tests show that Mikhail Kalashnikov's original design still meets 21st century reliability requirements. Even with the advent of new materials, improved ergonomics, and modern modularity systems, the rifle's basic operating principles are still used in the production of new models. This structural stability is the result of brilliant engineering. Mikhail Kalashnikov didn't just create a weapon, he created a system so well thought out and balanced that it has outlived eras, regimes, political systems, and technological epochs. And the more time passes, the more obvious it becomes. The AK-47 is not an archaic model, but the foundation of modern small arms, whose design remains relevant today. Today, the Kalashnikov assault rifle is used in over 50 countries worldwide. It remains the standard weapon in the Russian army, as well as in many countries in the CIS, Asia, Africa, and South America. It is copied, licensed, modernized, and studied. It has become a weapon that has transcended the boundaries of states and civilizations. Even nearly 8 decades after its first commercial production, it remains at the forefront and continues to compete with significantly more modern systems. Cinema, history, politics, culture, all of these are woven into the image of the AK-47. But most importantly, it's its practical value. The rifle remains a tool you can count on, and it's precisely this quality that makes it truly legendary. Legend isn't forged by advertising, myth, or propaganda. It's forged by time, and time has proven. The AK-47 is a weapon that changed the world, and its influence will be felt for a long time to come.